This is evening, afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Monday OA Blackrock meeting. If we could please open with the Serenity Prayer. God.
Grant me the
Grant me the serenity to accept the things that cannot change,
Courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Okay, welcome to the Monday night Zoom meeting of Overeaters Anonymous. This is a closed meeting. My name is Rebecca A, and I am a compulsive overeater. If this is your first time at the meeting, or you are visiting, please introduce yourself by first name so we can know you better. Just to let you know that this meeting will be recorded. So if you don't feel comfortable being on the recording, please just pop your message into the chat. But yeah, who do we have new with us today? Let's say hello.
Hi, my name is Irene. I left rooms, I'm just back. So yes, lovely to be here again. Thank you.
Welcome home, Irene. Great to have you back with us.
I'm a compulsive overeater from the northeast of England. I'm just visiting. Thanks.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Nancy J. from Geneva, Illinois, and I have been to this meeting once, but I think a while ago, and I just want to say I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Great to have you with us, Nancy J.
Hi, I'm Amy, compulsive overeater, and I'm new to this meeting, and I'm from Colorado.
Hey, Amy G from Colorado. Great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tina L from Michigan. I've been here once before, but it's been a while. Glad to be back.
Hey, Tina. Great to have you with us.
Hi, I'm Donna. I'm a compulsive overeater and I'm new. Thanks.
Hey, Donna.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tanya from New York. First time at this meeting. I've been in program for about 4 months.
Hey, Tanya. Great to have you with us. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Jean from Scotland, and this was actually the first meeting I went to, and it's taken me all this while to find my way back to it while I've been journeying around the others, and I'm very happy to be back here tonight. Thank you.
Awesome, Jean. Welcome home. Great to have you with us. Okay, and welcome home, everybody who's new. Yeah, good to have you with us today, and we have a speaker meeting, which is awesome. Okay, if you have any questions or concerns during the meeting, please contact either myself or any of the co-hosts by private message in the chat function. We ask if you can please make sure your microphone is on mute at all times during today's meeting, and also please turn off your video if you are exercising, eating, or if you step away from your screen for any reason. We are going to read momentarily the OA preamble, followed by some readings. So I will read the OA preamble for you right now. Overeaters Anonymous is a fellowship of individuals who, through shared experience, strength, and hope, are recovering from compulsive overeating. We welcome everyone who wants to stop eating compulsively. There are no dues or fees for members. We are self-supporting through our own contributions, neither soliciting nor accepting outside donations. OA is not affiliated with any public or private organization, political movement, ideology, or religious doctrine. We take no position on outside issues. Our primary purpose is to abstain from compulsive eating and compulsive food behaviors, and to carry the message of recovery through the 12 steps of OA to all who still suffer. Thank you. So may I please ask Maria to read how it works for us?
Hi, thanks for your service, Rebecca. My name is Maria F. and I'm a recovered compulsive overeater from County Dublin in Ireland. how it works from page 58 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to the simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those too who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with food, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us, but there is one who is all power. That one is God. May you find him now.
Thanks, that's beautiful. Okay, may I please ask Leah to read the 12 steps for us?
Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, I'm Leah and I'm a compulsive overeater. These are the 12 steps of Overeaters Anonymous. 1. We admitted we were powerless over food, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to compulsive overeaters and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you for letting me do this service.
Leah, awesome. Okay, so next could we have Anita to read more about compulsive overeating. Thank you, Anita.
Hi, Rebecca. Thanks a million. My name is Anita, compulsive overeater. A warm welcome to our visitors and newcomers this evening. More about alcoholism. Most of us have been unwilling to admit we were real alcoholics. No person likes to think he is bodily and mentally different from his fellows. Therefore, it is not surprising that our drinking careers have been characterized by countless vain attempts to prove that we could drink like other people. The idea that somehow, someday, he will control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. The persistence of this illusion is astonishing. Many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. We learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost selves that we were alcoholics. This is the first step in recovery. The delusion that we are like other people, or presently maybe, has to be smashed. Sorry, now I'm just reading from the big book. I'm noticing I'm saying everything alcoholic. Sorry, probably should change it. We compulsive overeaters are men and women who've lost the ability to control our eating. We know that no real compulsive overeater ever recovers control. All of us felt at times that we were regaining control, but such intervals, usually brief, were inevitably followed by still less control, which led in time to pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization. We are convinced to a man that compulsive overeaters of our type are in the grip of a progressive illness. Over any considerable period, we get worse, never better. We are like men who have lost their legs, then never grow new ones. Neither does there appear to be any kind of treatment which will make compulsive overeaters of our kind like other men. We have tried every imaginable remedy. In some instances, there has been brief recovery, followed always by a still worse relapse. Physicians who are familiar with compulsive overeating agreed that there is no such thing as making a normal eater out of a compulsive overeater. Science may one day accomplish this, but it hasn't done so yet.
Thanks, Lillian. That's great. Next, could we please have Carolyn to read our tradition of the month, tradition 8.
Hi everybody, my name is Carolyn, I'm a compulsive overeater. And tradition 8, Overeaters Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centres may employ special workers.
Awesome. Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, and could we please have Michelle H to read A Vision for You from page 164 in the big book?
Good evening all, Michelle, compulsive overeater. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right. Great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Okay, so the topic of this week, this is the 5th week of the month, so it's post-choice, and for today we have my dear friend Carol going to share for us. Carol, would you like me to give you a time indication?
I guess I'll just use my phone here, and I'll just hit start and start talking right now. Is that how it works?
Great. Okay, so Carol, please take it away.
Great. And you'll notice I signed in from my phone because 40 minutes ago, I started some computer updates and they're still going. And I keep trying to log out of it and I'm paranoid it's going to go restart and just shut down. So if that happens, I'm just going to turn on my phone volume. I'm logged in from my phone as well. Just covering my bases. It's like part of me was saying, just trust God, he's got it. It'll work, whatever. But then there's also a part of my program that's like, yeah, but I also have to do the footwork. I also said I would speak. So I need to sign in from my phone and make sure that if my computer suddenly restarts in the middle of speaking, that I'm covered. And so thanks for having me, Rebecca. And I see in the room at least 5 or 6 people who are probably sick to death of hearing me talk. And that's okay, because I'm going to talk to the newcomers, Tanya and Jean and Donna, and I forget who else was new to OA in general. But thanks for having me. I love the Blackrock meeting. I come periodically. It's always like being trapped inside the movie in Bruges. I love the accents. It's so wonderful to be able to get out from America and just see the rest of the world because of this pandemic that has been a curse and a blessing, I guess, all at the same time. It's just what's happening right now. Other generations have had worse things to deal with. So I came into OA over a year ago, I'd say. It's not my first foray into the 12-step world. I came in through the doors of Al-Anon like 20 something years ago. And then I was in, there's many food programs, and I came in through other food programs that just didn't work for me. And then I eventually landed up about a year and a half ago in the rooms of OA. And the reason I came in was, we had a pandemic and I just thought I'll bake bread and I'll take it to people. It'll keep me busy because I'm not employed right now. And it's like one of those things, a lot of us started baking, right? We got into COVID and we were trapped in our houses, and I went to Costco and got a 50-pound bag of flour and I was just baking bread for everybody. But then what happened was I stopped handing other people bread and just started eating like entire loaves of bread with sticks of butter into them. Carrie's Irish Gold butter is my favorite, of course. And I was just so rapidly putting on weight. And I knew myself. I wasn't an overweight child, but in my 20s, I gained like 120 pounds. I went from being, I don't know, around 150 or so. You'll have to use Google to do kilograms or pounds or whatever. or stone, as it were. But and then I was up to like in my mid-20s, like 280 pounds is my top known weight, because I wouldn't get on a scale after that. So I don't know, but I know I was heavier than that. I just refused to get on a scale. And then my mom was always very thin and beautiful, and her goal was for me to be thin. Like, she really thought that's how you get a man who's going to help you survive in the world, is that you have to be beautiful, and that should be your, and thin. So, you know, I got a big, strong message that if I wasn't thin and beautiful, I was going to really be a big failure in this world, and no one was going to love me, and no one was going to want to be with me. And she like pretty much used those words. And she is deceased now. She passed away of cancer in 2009 at 59 years old, and she died beautiful and thin. I'll tell you that. She had her mascara tattooed on her eyes, and we buried a very beautiful corpse. But that was just sort of the messaging I got. So I really, and to this day, I fight with like that, you know, I'm just not, you know, no one's going to love me. I'm not going to be able to keep anyone's love. You know, I go to a party, I scan a room, and I see am I the fattest person in the room? I live in Los Angeles, so I'm often, even at the weight I am now, I'm still often the fattest person in the room, because they're all actors and they're all very thin. But that's just where my mind goes, is like, oh, thank God there's someone fatter than me. I'm going to go hang out with them. And mostly because those are my people. Like, I always find the fat people at a party, and I go, oh, those are my people. I want to go hang out with them. That's where I want to be. So, you know, you guys are all my people, whether you're fat or not. It's just like, you're my people. Like, I know where I want to be and who I'm comfortable being around. And so I just kind of got that message. And so, unfortunately, when my mom died, I was fat. My weight went up and down. Like, I can gain and lose 100 pounds with or without program. You know, I don't need a program to lose 100 pounds. I can white knuckle it and get into hardcore dieting and exercise and lose it. But it's never peaceful that way. And that to me would be the big difference, is that being in OA now, it's putting that food down and then just kind of being happy and peaceful. And like, I'm not done losing weight. I came in at like 250 pounds. I'm in the 190s. I haven't weighed myself in a little bit right now. I probably still have 30 or 40 pounds to go. I'm losing weight very slowly right now. I want to judge myself and say that I'm not a success because a year later, I'm not 125 pounds and wearing a size 5, 6. And, you know, a fellow and I were just messaging before this meeting. She said, oh my God, look at these family photos. I look terrible. And she had a big baggy white dress on. And I said, I made that same mistake all week long. We just adopted a baby and it was finalized. And in every photo, I'm wearing a huge baggy white dress. And all I can think is, and this is like kind of my disease, is that, oh my God, you look like a blimp. You look so huge. And that's what she was thinking. And I said, it's so funny. I look at your photos and I think you and your family look beautiful. And she said, I look at your photos and I think you and your family look beautiful. So it was just a great reminder that, like, I don't need to pay attention to what's running through this brain up here, because thoughts just pass. Like, that's why we meditate and pray. Thoughts pass, you know. I think, boy, it would be fun to rob a bank, right? I'd get a bunch of money, but I don't do it. I don't need to go to jail for thinking about it. I don't need to put myself in like program jail because I'm having some negative body image thoughts or thinking about food or whatever. I just trust every day that I am where I am supposed to be. I'm talking to the people I need to be talking to. I'm getting what I need from my higher power. And whether I feel good or bad, I just trust that I'm headed in the right direction, and that I'm going to continue going in the right direction, because I'm going to show up and do the work. So when I first got in the rooms, I lurked in the background of some of these meetings and listened and was still just eating, you know, still just like wrapping bread around sticks of butter and eating that. And I don't know if we're even allowed to mention food here, but I did. So there you go. And I saw Rebecca in a meeting, and she was doing service, and I knew that if I wanted to get what all these people had, that I needed to speak up, raise my hand, say my name, and take a service position. So I spoke up in the meeting, I said my name, and then after the meeting, I messaged Rebecca, who had put her phone number in the chat, and I said, you know, how can I help? I need what you guys have. I'm killing myself with food. And I just knew that unless I spoke up, turned my camera on, and put myself out there, I would just never get it. I would just never get it. So she said, great, and gave me a position, and I started showing up to that meeting every week, and everyone knew my name and they're talking to me, and I'm like, damn, now I can't get out of this. Now people know my number and they're going to call me, and damn it. I liked it when I thought I could disappear and no one would have even noticed. But soon after that, I was like, okay, you're going to meetings, you got a position, you got to get a sponsor now. Like I knew that much. Like I was absorbing, you know, they say keep coming back, not because you're going to recover by coming back, but you're gonna, at least for me, like by coming back over and over again, my higher power had started guiding me, like that now you need a sponsor. So I got a sponsor, someone who had what I wanted. I started working the steps with this person who was only available kind of temporarily. It was a male, that's why, because he said, I'm not really supposed to sponsor females. So I started the steps with him, and then in an outreach call to somebody, a female said she was available. And I said, great. So I jumped on with her and we did the steps exactly as written in the big book. We just used the big book only. And I'm one of those, I love the big book. From the time I read it, it was not one of, and I know not everyone feels this way. I did not feel like the language is archaic. I didn't feel like it felt sexist to me. Like, you know, when I think of mankind, I think I'm a part of mankind. I don't, you know, my mind just, so that's just how I am. And I know not everybody is that way, but I loved these stories. And I really felt like everything was written to me. Like, I just thought, oh my God, how did this old guy from the 30s know me so well? Like, it was just all I had to do is in my mind replace the alcoholic thinking with food. And other stuff too. I mean, like, you know, look, I am it's like a compulsive behavior. Anything that feels good, I want more of it, you know? And be like, okay, 10 minutes, we're halfway through. So I did the steps with her. She helped me determine my abstinence. We did one of those red, yellow, green light food lists. I talked about like the ingredients, and I listened to some lectures on a visionforyou.info, which is a great website, and some lectures on step 1 and the doctor's opinion. And they really helped me get honest about my food and to understand like what they meant by alcoholic foods, alcoholic ingredients. And as I heard everything, like everything in my mind was just going, yes, yes, yes. Like when you hear what's true for you, at least that's how I felt when I heard what was true for me. It was like the 4th of July, sorry, British people, 4th of July, fireworks everywhere going off in my head. It just made sense, and everything was just lighting up. And I just wanted more and more of the truth, because I had been living in a lie of like just food and hiding. And, you know, and I call him my husband. He's my boyfriend. We're not legally married, but we've been together since 2009 or 6. He's seen me up and down 100 pounds. He's seen me a size 5 and a size 24. He's seen me all over the place, and he has stayed with me. And even though he stays with me, I still feel like he's going to leave me because I'm fat, because that was just sort of the message that I got growing up, is like, they'll leave you at some point. Like, so I just have to show up because I need to hear my truth, and I need to talk to my fellows, and I need to run these thoughts past other people. So we picked up the big book, and I wasn't even sure, because when you work the steps in the big book, it's not like you are now on step 1. You have done some writing and you have completed step 1. Like step 1, I made some notes. Like, so chapters 1 through 3 kind of cover step 1. Step 2 is in chapter 4. Steps 3 and 4 are in chapter 5. Then steps 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 are in chapter 6. And then chapter 7 is the 12th step. So you're kind of going through, and there, like, I thought there should be like a graduation ceremony between each step, but I would just suddenly go, oh my God, I'm on step 4. That means I did 1, 2, and 3. Wow, that's amazing. Like, you just do the work and you just keep going. But I'll tell you, the thing was that I knew the way I had been doing it wasn't going to work. And I was willing to put down my thoughts and preconceived notions and everything I knew about fitness and nutrition, and just do what was being asked of me, because I thought you had to starve yourself to lose weight. I didn't know by eating 3 fairly large healthy meals a day that I would lose weight. I thought I had to like fast all day and then eat maybe 1 meal at the end of the day, or that I would just not eat for a few days and then eat a bunch on one day, but then I wouldn't eat for 3 more days. Like, I was just all over the place. And my mind still tells me that, like, you got to not eat tomorrow. Like, you need to lose more weight right now. And it's like, no, because I've never lost weight that way. I've lost weight by eating my 3 healthy, abstinent meals and by working my program and by showing up. That's the only way I've ever lost weight consistently. And it is not about the weight. I mean, obviously, as time goes by, you'll start to feel that way, hopefully. Is like, I just, you know, like they say, you came for the vanity, stayed for the sanity. I hate slogans and chants and all that stuff. It's like, hate that stuff. But there's something true about it. I love coming in here. I can talk about what's really going on with me, with people who really see me and really know me and really see me for who I am. Like, you know, my boyfriend out there, like, I can hide things from him so easily because he's not a compulsive eater. You know, I can do all sorts of tricks, and he won't notice what's going on with me. He won't even notice that I'm sad. I can just smile and be like, what do you want for dinner? And just keep going. But then, like, people in this room, my friends, will say, I can, you know, I'll speak in a meeting, I can tell what's wrong, what's going on with you. Like, because you guys are me, you know me, you have the same thing that I have, and you can really see it in me. So so I did the steps with my sponsor, and I just started going to whatever meetings. When I heard somebody share that I liked, I would say, what meetings do you go to? And I found those great, like the Cherry Hill meeting on Sundays, and then the Scottsdale, Arizona Big Book meeting. I love that meeting too. And then I go to wherever these guys tell me. I followed Rita Q, was one of the first people I met in here. And I was just like, girl, wherever she is, I'm going. Wherever that lady is, I'm going where she is, because I want what she's got. And she led me to a whole bunch of meetings. So if you're new, find somebody who says something you like and ask them, like, what meetings do you go to? Where do you go? What's going on? And just follow those people around, and then start talking to God. Like, I just feel like if you can do anything, it's get a higher power, and it doesn't have to be God. I use the word God. I'm comfortable with it, whatever. It can be spirit of the universe, the world. Ooh, 5 minutes, great. And the Big Book has a lot of different words for God. I know it does say God, but don't let that put you off. It also has a lot of other words in there that are capitalized that are referencing to God, because it's not just written, although it did come from like a Judeo-Christian background, it's really can work for everybody. And there's people in this room that I know for a fact are full-blown atheists and agnostic, and it just works. So when I try not to let words bother me, you know, like there's lots of things people say that annoy me, you know, and maybe hearing the word God annoys you, but when I can put those things aside and just focus on what I'm seeing that I do want, not what I don't want, then that's when I find the recovery that I need, and when I find the fellowship that I need. And then another thing I started doing pretty early on was being of service. And the Big Book even starts on like the first page, starts talking about helping others and being of service. And that 12th step is, you know, nothing will so much ensure immunity as working with another alcoholic. So anytime, especially early on, but anytime the food's calling to me, I just start calling newcomers. Any meeting I go to, I try to jot down the names and the phone numbers of a couple newcomers, even if I never call them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But what happens is, if something's bothering me, if food is calling to me, I'm not kidding, nothing makes me care less about the food than calling a few newcomers, chit-chatting with them, telling them the meetings I like. You don't have to like be recovered and be a sponsor to share something useful with a newcomer. You can tell them where you are. You can say, these are the meetings I like going to, and they're so excited, and they'll come to those meetings with you. And you just start these relationships. There's people that I talk to daily, and there's people that will just call me once every 2 or 3 months. Like, and all of that's okay. Like, it doesn't have to be this like, we talk all the time. Like there's people in program that call me when they need me, or I call them when I need them. And the great thing about being in program is that there's no weirdness about that. Like, oh, I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. Well, yeah, because I've been working on stuff. People are just happy that you've called when you called. So you don't have to feel bad that you haven't called them in a while. If somebody speaks to you, just call them. Like, if I can encourage you to do anything today, it would just be to literally pick up the phone. Sorry, I'm 51, so I'm holding an old-fashioned phone from the 70s, not a cell phone like the young people would hold. But nothing to me, and we have to do the phone now, really, because most of us are in sort of a lockdown. I would say go to an in-person meeting and talk to somebody there too, if you could. And some of you can, and that's awesome. But picking up the phone, like text messages and voice notes, all that stuff, to me, it just doesn't count. It's lovely, and it's a lovely way to stay connected with people, but also picking up the phone and talking to people is such a big and important thing, because the things that come out of my mouth in a phone conversation don't always come out of my mouth when I'm texting or voice noting somebody, you know what I mean? And then it's a two-way give and take. And then that person says something that sparks this thought. And now I'm saying this that I didn't know that I would be saying. And so I just feel like nothing really, really takes the place of an actual phone conversation with somebody. So please, if you're new, I would just really recommend, like, pick up the phone and if you don't know what to say, just, hey, I'm new. I don't know what to say. I feel awkward. I feel weird. I've said that to people and they go, oh, great. And then they just go off on a whole bunch of stuff that's amazing and like just changes and rocks my entire world. So what do I do now? I pretty much, I'll wrap up. I got 2 minutes here. I go to a meeting almost every day of the week. Some days I miss. I know the meetings that I love. I try to take down the names and numbers of newcomers and I reach out to them and talk to them. And like, I'm really just living the 12-step way of life. And if you talk to me 5 years from now, hopefully I'll still be here and I'll be at a different place in my recovery. Like, everyone's different. If you talk to Nancy J, she is much further along in her recovery, and like, you're going to hear a different story from her. And if you talk to somebody who came into program 6 months ago, you're going to hear a different story from them and you're going to see where they are. But I found that it's a winding road of recovery. Sometimes I feel amazing and on top of the world. Sometimes I feel kind of crappy and like, what am I doing here? I'm a fraud. What's going on? But what I do is I just keep coming back, going to meetings, talking to people, talking to my sponsor, working those steps, reading that big book. I try to make sure I go to as many big book meetings as I can, because for me, that's where I find my recovery. That's like learning what the words in that book mean to me, and not just hearing what it means to other people is to me the key to everything. Like, if recovery is like the movie National Treasure, Nicolas Cage is following all these clues to get to the whatever, like, the clues are in the big book. And the more I find out what that book means to me, I don't know, it just, I know that I'm on the right track and that I am where I need to be and that I'm going where I need to go. And so I just really look forward to hearing all of you guys share now and sitting back and relaxing. So Rebecca, thank you so much for having me here at the Blackrock meeting. And I will go ahead and pass because my time is up.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thanks, CJ, for that beautiful share. And thank you for your energy and exuberance, and just the joy of living this program really just shines through when you speak. So thank you so much. Okay. So we will now open the meeting for sharing, and sharing will end in about 20 minutes. If you'd like to share, please raise your hand in the participant section and we will call on you accordingly. Please limit your share to 3 minutes, and in that way others get the opportunity to share their experience, strength and hope too. Okay, so we have Tina C. Go for it.
I didn't expect to be the first one. Thank you, Carol, so much. I totally related to so much. I was even taking notes. Like, I had I still have a beautiful mother. She's still alive. And she's still dieting. She's almost 80 and she's still cycling through different diets. Like, she lives with us and my kids will make something and be like, is Grandma eating carbs this week? Because they don't know if they should bring it to her or not, because she's always doing different diets and I don't want to be like that. But yeah, that's where I got it from. And I got all those same messages about being pretty and thin and slow weight loss, and the big book. I just went to the big book this year. I've been in and out of OA for like 25 years or something like that. And it wasn't until the big book. And I've owned the big book for years, and told other people to read it because I work with like addicts and things like that, but I didn't read it. And it really made all the difference. So I encourage anybody the OA stuff's great too, but the big book, there's something about it that just, I really got it this time. And after many, many, many years, like the jaywalker story, if anyone's ever That's on 37 and 38. That's one of my favorite stories because that's me. And fear of a man leaving you. My husband and I've been together 20 years. We have 2 kids, but I still think, and he's been with me up and down, up and down. Anyway, this is me babbling, but I appreciate you, Carol, so much, and everyone here, and I thank you that you talked about slow weight loss, because I do feel like I've lost 25 pounds, but it's not enough. It's never enough, and I always feel like I should be losing more because my body hasn't lost weight in a month. And I'm trying to focus on the spiritual aspect of my higher power and all that, but those behaviors still are in there, and they still want to come up, that like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not enough because I haven't lost weight in a month. And it's so stupid, but that is that mindset. So anyway, thank you, everybody. And thanks for letting me share. And I love all of you. Okay, bye.
Thanks, Tina. Great to have you with us. Okay, next we have Anita. Please jump in.
Thanks a million, Rebecca. God, I'm very keen tonight. Had the raise hand very quickly. Carol, thanks so much for your chair this evening. Yeah, I've heard you speak before, and like Rebecca said, yeah, I think the word is exuberance, you know, and your passion for the program and for recovery. Yeah, and I suppose I'm diving in as well, you know, like I had a mother who was like incredibly glamorous and was kind of like a film star, you know, when we were kids, and you know, God, men were, you know, mad about her, but everything was about appearance and everything was about weight, you know. And I can tell you that I wasn't like her, you know, when I was a child. And a huge part of my disease would have been, you know, that obsession with physical appearance and obsession with weight. You know, and even in recovery, even with the food down, you know, that still can rear its head. You know, I've been a size 20, you know, and thought, oh, I'm not overweight. You know, I'd be a size 10 and I think I've flabby arms, you know. That's just part of my disease, you know. So I would identify with that. Like, I can't trust my head, or maybe it's some kind of mild form of body dysmorphia or something, but I just see it as part of my disease. You know, which is why, you know, I have a sponsor, and why I don't make decisions about food plans or weight or anything like that on my own, because I cannot be trusted. And what I just like to finish on is, I think what I'm really taking from your share tonight is the importance of fellowship, the importance of connection, and you know, the use of the phone. And I really liked what you said about, you know, taking the numbers of the newcomers. Yeah, I really like that. So thanks for coming to our Irish meeting and sharing. And yeah, it's lovely to have all the visitors as well. So thank you.
Thanks so much for your share. Great to have you with us, Anita. Okay, next we have Nancy, please. Go for it.
Hey, Rebecca. Hi, everybody. Nancy P. calling from Boston. Well, Weston, right next to Boston. Excellent job, Carol. Excellent job. You know, I also agree with the just keep going. You know, I had not the opposite problem of a mother who said everything is about looks and men and all the rest of it. But unfortunately, my mother was in OA before I started school. And so I grew up around this stuff and rejected it roundly, because why would I want to hang out with my mother and all her dumb friends? You know, that's what I thought. And over the years, you know, I'd hear people ask her, you know, how do you recover? How do you get abstinent? And she always said the same thing. This is actually appropriate for this meeting. She'd say, it's like the kid asked his mother, when are we going to get to England, or in this case, Ireland? And the answer is, shut up and keep swimming. And, you know, I tried to just get it without actually doing the word. I tried to do some skate, you know, I tried to skate around and get it some other way. And it never worked, even for 1 minute, ever a little, until I surrendered. And once I surrendered, everything happened pretty fast. And I would say that today, every single promise that it says in that book has come true for me. Not to say that my life isn't filled with things that upset me or things that go wrong. They do, and it does, you know. But that stuff no longer owns me. And you know, when I first got into A Vision for You, also, you know, those phone calls saved me, because we had a family catastrophe that was just completely out of hand, and I had eaten my way up to 211 pounds at 5'1.5" and wasn't going down anytime soon. And they used to send out a blast email. They no longer do it, with all the newcomer numbers. And I used to call every single newcomer every single day. And I'd call somebody and I'd talk sometimes for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I'd hang up the phone, I'd burst into tears and I'd dry my tears and I'd make another call. But I did not hurt myself with food. I didn't have so much as an extra grain of rice, not one bite. And so, you know, all pain is created equal. Like my problem, my big catastrophe was big, but I've also binged my brains out because I dinged my manicure. So, you know, if I ended up at the refrigerator, who cares how I got there? And, you know, this book, this big book, will show us, well, it showed me how I can, you know, live and thrive even in the midst of all that. Because even though I was in such extra pain because I wasn't eating, although, you know, whatever, it's the same amount of pain, but it's from a different direction. I don't know, it was horrible. And, you know, this, at the same time as all that pain, it was my most joyous time because I wasn't eating compulsively. And, you know, people ask me, how did you surrender? And the answer for me is pain did it for me. It knocked me over, ground me into the mud, and kicked me. And, you know, and I got better because I did what this book says immediately and as hard as I could. Whatever I was told, I did it immediately and as hard as I could. And once I did that, I got better. So with that, I'll pass. And my number's in the chat if anybody wants to call me. I love calls. Call.
Thanks, Nancy. Great to hear you as always. Next up is Scotty in Wicklow. Go for it.
Thanks a million, Rebecca. My name is Scotty. I'm a grateful compulsive overeater, and thanks everyone for their service. Thanks, Rebecca. And thanks, Carol, for a fantastic share. I really enjoyed listening to you. And you look great, you do, I must say. You look fantastic. And we kind of have the same abstinence date. I'm about a month off a year, a day at a time. And I could just identify with you so much. And it's funny, you were talking about you and your friend looking at the photos. I kind of had a bit of that. I still get a bit of that, you know, looking at myself and saying, oh, you're still a bit fat, you know. But like other people shared, I don't pay it too much attention. And I know it's my disease. And what I love, Carol, about your chair is you were talking about it's okay to think about food and it's okay to have them thoughts, you know, because I'm a human being before I'm anything else. And I always have to remember that. And thank God I have a God in my life and a program. And I loved what you said as well about the outreach calls. You might hear from people from a while. And it was just a very loving, gentle message, especially for any of the newcomers that are on. Yeah, it was so refreshing to hear. It really was. Yeah, and I'm just so grateful to be part of this program. This time last year, I was really, like the last speaker, like the gift to desperation got me to OA. I came from another 12-step program. The food was just, yeah, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, especially with the food. And I was a long time sober, but I wasn't happy. And this disease was doing the same thing that drinking drugs done to me. And like you, I'm an addict. I have to be careful with so many things. If you told me I'd get addicted to Lego, I'd be building a fortress out my back garden. You know, it's my personality. One is too many and 1,000's not enough. So I have to be careful. And today I was chasing my son, he's 1, and I kind of pulled me back in. And my first thought is, yes, there's an excuse to take painkillers, and I can't take painkillers because they brought me to my knees. So I just have to sit with the pain, take paracetamol, and just rat on myself. And that's what I had to do a lot. Rat on myself throughout my sobriety, because if I don't rat on myself, my head will convince me that everything is all right. and I'm missing out. And that's why I need you people more than I did when I first walked in here. So yeah, it's a great meeting, and yeah, God is great, and I'll leave it at that. My number's in the chat if anyone wants it either. God bless.
Okay, got you. Thank you so much for your share. Okay, Nancy J, take it away. Oh, sorry, Nancy, you're muted. Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Yes, it's such a pleasure to be here. Many of you I've never met in person. I've met Maria in person. We once were in New Jersey together at a Vision for You conference. That's how and I had lunch, I think, with Maria a few times, and I thought, what a wonderful person. And so I got to, but the rest of you, the ones who I do know, it's just through Zoom. And Carol has been such a joy to know through Zoom. Her beautiful spirit, her energy, she's so intelligent, she's so capable, and has such love to give people. And any meeting I'm in, when Carol's there, I go, yay, Carol's there, because she contributes so much. And as a matter of fact, the reason I'm on this meeting today is due to Carol, that she posts things in the WhatsApp, and so I get onto meetings I never would have normally gotten on, because she makes it so easy for me to just call in. So Carol is helping so many people, me included. And Carol, I have to tell you, I have heard you speak, and what you said today was different and helped me. It was not like, oh, the same old talk at all. It was how you are using this program to reach out and help other people. And the way you do it is so inspiring, that you inspire me, because that's what I want to do. I want to remember to take the time to write down people's names and phone numbers. And sometimes I'll jot down little things about them, so I'll remember something special about them. So when I call, I'll remember it. And it is very, very helpful to reach out to someone else, to reach out to someone else. And I hope I'm back. Somebody called me and kind of, I don't know how it appeared on the screen, but I tried to get rid of it without leaving the call. So, but anyway, I just want to say the people I do know in this group, Rebecca and Rita and Paul, what wonderful human beings. I am so lucky to know you. I really lucky to know you. I could almost cry talking about it. I mean, here I am, 76 years of age, at home, self-isolating from COVID. And I feel so connected to so many people in this world. And what a joy that is, especially at my age, where a lot of people get disconnected. And how wonderful that is. And what I have to look forward to. This is a program where you can never exhaust it. You're constantly learning and getting new insights and new ways to grow. And I mean, I've only really been recovered for 6 years, which in terms of sobriety is really not that long. And every day I feel like I learn something new. So I just want to thank all of you for being connected to me, and to Carol, especially, for that fantastic talk. And I think I must have exhausted my time. So with that, I pass. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Nancy. Great to have you with us today. I'm going to jump in for a quick share. My name's Rebecca, compulsive overeater. Yeah, thank you so much, Carol, for that share. Yeah, I'm so grateful to you for everything that you bring. You're such a great example of yeah, service and just kind of throwing yourself in. And I think it's something that Harlan always says, like, anyone can count the pips in an apple, but only God can count the number of apples in a pip. And I always think about that when I think of you, because like, you know, it's clear that your higher power is using you to do really incredible things, and it's really inspiring. And yeah, I relate to having my mum is really gorgeous. She's super gorgeous, and she grew up in a time where it was just her looks. My grandparents didn't believe in educating women, so she just had to live off the fact that she was attractive, and luckily she was, and she survived, and that was a big thing. That was the thing. So yeah, I relate to that, and I love Kerry Gold, you know. And yeah, just you were talking about like scanning the room and scanning people. Yeah, you know, those are things I definitely can relate to. But yeah, I loved, you know, people have said it so beautifully, but I loved the way that you so gently talked about outreach and kind of people coming in and out of your life, and the fact that, like, yeah, fellowship, we're used to kind of being hit up by people, and we need it. I needed connection to be well. I need connection to be well, because, you know, today, but by the grace of God, I'm so well connected, but I was kind of shriveling up in isolation, you know, and I'm 33. I was just alone, you know. But luckily this program, these steps, and my higher power has kind of opened my world up, and it's such a blessing. And to be connected with people all around the world is, yeah, it's just really a huge blessing. Anyway, with that I will pass because we've got lots of hands up. So next, let's go to Neve. Jump in.
Hi, my name is Neve, compulsive overeater. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. So thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, Carol. I am in program about 2 months, and I've been lurking around in the shadows, and tonight is a big night for me. It's my first night with my camera on. Woo! So I hope I don't look too much like I'm on a witness protection program. I just see it's gotten very dark while I've been on here, but I'm not trying to hide still, don't worry. It's very important for me to do this tonight, because I think my sponsor would probably drop me if I didn't, because I just feel this program, I have gotten so much from all of you and from all of these meetings. I have found this so powerful, and the people I have met, the people I have spoken to on the phone, it's just absolutely so inspiring and so uplifting. And yet I was happy up until now to sit around in the shadows going, oh, they're great, they're great. Yeah, I'll listen to her, I'll watch her, while I had my camera off and was sitting there giving nothing back. So I'm facing up to things tonight, and I'm very nervous about it, but I just really identified with a lot of what you said, Carol, mainly the wrapping the bread around sticks of butter, absolutely 100% there on that. But the main thing then that you said about the big book, I found that as well. I found myself reading it going, this was written by men in the 1930s. How do they know what I'm thinking? Like, this is absolutely unbelievable. And I found that from the first meeting I came to as well, that I heard people sharing, and I thought, how are they inside my head? How do they know things that I've been hiding from everyone for years? And that is what has made programs so special for me. And I'm just full of gratitude. And really, that's the main reason that I'm speaking tonight, is just to claim my chair and say thank you all so much. This is just an absolutely beautiful place to be. So thank you, and I leave it there.
Oh, thanks so much, Neve. Wonderful to have you with us. I reckon we probably got time to kind of fit the hands we have up if people are willing to kind of stay on a little bit longer. But yeah, Marita, you jump in.
I'll just start my timer. Hi everybody, my name's Rita. I'm a recovering compulsive overeater. Oh, CJ, I came especially. I stopped a box set for you, so I was so delighted. And I remember us first meeting. I really do, and it was so wonderful. And this is what fellowship is about for me. It really is. I have friends. I don't want to cross share, but like what Nancy had said, I have friends in this line that, you know, I would go to the ends of the earth for, and you know, and hope I will always be in my life. And I loved your passion for newcomers, because I share that passion as well. I love reaching out to new people, and I think a lot of that stems from the bullshit side of OA that we see, you know, the kind of, oh, it's okay, you know, you can wean yourself off things, you can do it this way, you can do it the easier, softer way. No, you can't. It's very black and white for me, because my disease took me up to 380 pounds. And, I love what you said, the way you kind of were feeling around, and then you read the big book, you read the instructions, and you got it and you did it. And that really is it. And not everybody gets that, but I really love to try, for me, to explain. I always say to people, for me as a compulsive overeater, that's what works. And the other thing you said something now, and you've done such great service as well for the meetings with the podcast and everything. It's just amazing. And I'm a real service junkie too. I sort of think, how have you got the time between the adoption and everything? I'm like, how have you got the time? But I think we all seem to manage it, and it's kind of, even though we're addicts, the kind of all or nothing thing I have to be careful of as well. I have to be careful that I don't exhaust my time to it. It's all about having boundaries in everything I do, including, outreach or whatever that looks like, and having free time in the evening from my husband. But yeah, I love your passion, and I love doing this journey with you. And man, I could barely keep up with your reading as well, because we used to read very similar books, but you're way ahead of me. I'd have to read things 4 or 5 times to get them to sink in. That's the menopause, anyway. And I'm just really grateful. I'm grateful for the freedom that I've experienced. Yesterday was our wedding anniversary. We had a lovely day, and I'm really grateful for everybody who showed up today. And this is wonderful. This is fellowship. This is a program. And in many ways, I wish everybody could experience it, because it's really, really special. So I will leave it there, and I love you guys. And CJ, I love you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks so much. We are great to have you with us. And next we have Maria. Please jump in.
Hey, Carol, thanks so much. God, I've heard you a few times, Carol, and I'm flipping delighted to be here. That's all I know. Yeah, just to hear everything that you said. And you talked about, COVID and God, if you can put something good on COVID, it's that we're all over the world, and we're here at a meeting tonight. From everywhere, and like people have shared, getting to know people from all over the world. When I came into OA, there was 5 people at a meeting in Ireland. That's what you would get, a handful of people, very little recovery. And now tonight at one stage, there was 59 people here. So yeah, it's absolutely grown. And you talked about how, for you, Carol, the program, how you work the program. And when I think of you, actually, when I think of a service, when I think of you, to think of Carol service, because you're at every WhatsApp group I'm on, you're posting things, you're doing things. At Scottsdale, you're juggling the baby in the background and you're muting the line. So it's an inspiration to me just to see the level of service that you do. And you spoke as well about your mother, and I could just tick all those boxes too. My mother was a compulsive overeater, and I remember her going around the kitchen, and she was always looking in the mirror. She was always on a diet. I never remember her not being on a diet. And I remember she'd look at her hips all the time. And I was a kid. I don't blame my mother for a second that I'm a compulsive overeater. Not for a second. I was born a compulsive overeater. They could trace me right back to in the cot, where you just can't keep me fed. So it was definitely within me. And like I shared too, I came into, you spoke about Al-Anon and being in Al-Anon for 20 years before you were in OA. And I was in Al-Anon for 11 years before I came into the rooms of OA, wondering, why is this not working? Why is this step not working around food? And I'm eating my way through saying the step around food, step 1, and of course it didn't work. I needed to be in a fellowship where there's other addicts, other compulsive overeaters. And you talked as well about the big book, where it says at the very beginning, to show other alcoholics precisely how we've recovered is the main purpose of our book. And you talked about the big book too. And that's the purpose of the big book. For me, it's to carry the message to newcomers, because I remember being that newcomer, shaking in my boots, flipping petrified. And Vision give out numbers. Newcomers come on the line every day. You can get loads of newcomers numbers, and they absolutely love people from Ireland ringing them. They're blown away by that. So you can absolutely change someone's day in that. And funny, I suppose I'm just reflecting this month on recovery, because I can't do this by myself. And somebody said to me today, or something about the amount of years, I had in recovery, and it's a day at a time for me. It's absolutely a day at a time. And I take no credit for my recovery, absolutely none. It's my higher power. It's nothing to do with me. Like you, I turn up, I take the action, I do service, I do the best that I can, but God does the rest, you know. And as well, what you shared, this program is open to everybody, atheist, agnostic, you know. What does the big book say? We have no monopoly on God. You know, we just turn up and we follow these steps, because that's what the solution is. The solution is in the steps. There is no other solution. And no other lurking notion that there is another way out, because there isn't for me. There's one solution. Yes, so Carol, thanks again. Thanks a million for being here and for coming to us tonight. Thank you.
Maria, and thanks for your beautiful service as well. Okay, next we have Susan. Jump in.
Hey y'all, this is Susan, a recovered compulsive overeater in North Carolina in the US. Carol, this is actually the first time I've heard your story, as many meetings as I've been to that you've been to also. And I'm so grateful for all your service. Last week was the first time I came to this meeting because you had posted it in the chat. I relate so much to your share. My mom gave me a lot of the same messages, and she added the barb of fertility by saying I was wasting my youth because I wasn't thin, therefore I wasn't going to get a man, therefore I wasn't going to become a mother. We showed them, didn't we? And congratulations on adopting your son. That's fantastic. As a mother of an adoptee, it really moves me. And yes, the big book. I did 7 years of the bullshit OA way. And I would get abstinent, I'd lose it, I'd get it, I'd lose it. And at one point I even had almost 2 years before I lost it. But that's because everything was focused on stay abstinent, stay abstinent, stay abstinent. It was not focused on the solution in the big book. It wasn't a spiritual solution. It was me staying in control. And I finally, so 7 months ago, came to see it this way. My higher power led me this way as when I surrendered. And you and Rita were two of the first people who welcomed me into the rooms of the Big Book way and changed my life. And I am so profoundly grateful. The steps, doing it this way, 4 through 9 especially, is where I could finally turn down that voice of my mom, my inner critic. And occasionally it'll pop up, and that's usually when a 10th step is involved. And for today, I don't have to live with her in my brain. I can fill out my inventory, send it to my sponsor, or share it with a fellow and be free. And it is beautiful. The serenity is amazing. And yes, definitely phone calls to newcomers. That's something that I've been doing since I had 30 days, and it is so profoundly rewarding. In fact, at the beginning of this meeting, I had to log off because a newcomer returned my call. I love it when they do that. They don't all do that. And that's how I got my sponsor. She wasn't new to OA, but she was new to our meeting, so I called her. And eventually, like a month or two later, she ended up being my sponsor, and she was just the person I needed to guide me. So yeah, work with newcomers is like Dr. Bob used to say, the boys on the ward. It keeps me in this program at step 12. I'm living in 10, 11, and 12 today. And working with newcomers is a huge part of that, as is, working with sponsees. And it's so rewarding. That's what's just amazing to me, because I always resented service and volunteering before. And I did it because I wanted y'all to like me. But now I want to do it. It feels so good. And God, this is such a much better way to live. It's a design for living that works. And thank God I'm here. And congratulations again on your son. Thanks.
Oh, thank you for your lovely share, Susan. And to close us out, Michelle H. Go for it.
Good evening, everyone. Michelle H., compulsive overeater. Thank you so much, everybody, for your service, and especially to the lovely Carol for telling us her story. And I had to I smiled when you said that COVID is both a curse and a blessing, because certainly for me at the beginning, I believed it to be a blessing because I didn't have to see anyone. I didn't have to move 2 kilometers from my house. Great. I don't even move 2 centimeters from my house. I could, I really went mad on takeaways, and I was buying takeaways twice a day, not just once. And then as time passed, and I'd put on more weight, there came the opportunity to meet up with some family and friends, and everyone was excited about this. We were going to be meeting for the first time in a year. All I could think of was like, oh my gosh, I've put on so much weight and I don't want to see anybody. And then when I was there and should have been enjoying the company, in the company I was in, all I could worry about and think about was the food, because the food was in a different room to where I was, and I wasn't happy about that. I wanted to be in the room where the food was, not with the people who I'd missed for a year and a half. And that kind of struck me as a bit nuts. I'd had food every day, every minute of every day. And these were people who I hadn't seen in so long. And I didn't want to be beside them. I wanted to be in the food. But here I am now, 4 weeks abstinent, 6 weeks in the rooms of OA, and loving it, really loving it. Loving the OR calls. I've had some amazing calls with some of you guys here. And I'm sure the local takeaway wants to do a wellness check on me, because I haven't had any in some time. And I'm also noticing some other unexpected bonuses. I've dropped a few pounds in weight, but I'm not binging on Netflix. I'm not buying online clothes that are not going to fit me anyway. I'm not spending hours on Instagram, and I'm not watching soap operas, all this time. And instead, I'm making OA calls, I'm going on walks, I'm listening to podcasts. And best of all, I've reconnected back in with, my God of my understanding, and that is the best of all. And so thanks to everybody here, including my sponsor. I'm really enjoying this every single day. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your share. Great to have you with us. Okay. Thank you everybody for your shares today. Thank you so much, Carol, for your lead share. Okay. I've put the link to the 7th tradition in the chat. I'd like to remind you of tradition 7, that every OA group ought to be self-supporting, declining outside contributions. The money pays for rent and literature, and any excess funds go to intergroup. If there are any announcements, may I ask people to please add them to the chat box? Okay. Tradition 12 states that anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all these traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Therefore, who you see here, what you hear here, when you leave here, please let it stay here. And would Michael kindly read us the promises from page 83? Thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah, with you a second. Oh, dear. Sorry, Sorry about that, folks. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm a compulsive overeater. Thank you, Rebecca, for your leadership this evening, and Carol, all the way from California. Thank you, and everyone else for their readings and sharings. Now, the promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. The feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them.
That's marvelous. Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, so we will now close the meeting by linking virtual hands and saying the Serenity Prayer.
God,
God,
grant me the
Grant me
serenity
the serenity
to accept the
things I cannot
not
change,
change,
courage
courage
to
to
change
change the
things
things that I can,
and
the
wisdom to
wisdom
know the
to
difference.
difference.
Your will, not mine, be done. Amen.
Keep
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
bye
Wonderful
everyone.
meeting.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You did a great job, Carol. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you,
Thank you, Carol.
everybody.
Thank you very much, Carol.
Hi,
Thanks,
Diane.
guys. Thank you.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Hi, good to see ya. I'm good, thanks.
And my computer didn't crash. Yay.
Yay.
All right. Well, I'm going to go check on the baby. Thank you, guys. Good to
Thanks,
hear
Carol.
from y'all. You're welcome.
Hey,
Oh, there's
Nancy.
Nancy P. Bye, Nancy P.
Bye,
Bye, Jesse.
Nancy.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, Paul. Hey, Jesse. Hey, Carol Grace. Hey, Yaz. Thanks, everybody. Right, see you all.